And whereas our public safety dispatchers and call takers in El Paso County contribute daily to the safe, successful, and efficient apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of medical emergencies. And whereas public safety dispatchers and call takers working in agencies throughout El Paso County exhibited compassion, patience, understanding, and great professionalism during the performance of their jobs, and it says in the past year, but I'd say every year, because I know you guys. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioner of El Paso County, Colorado, hereby recognizes the week of April 10th through 16th, 2016, as National Telecommunicators Week in El Paso County, and proclaims its gratitude and support for the men and women working in our emergency dispatch centers whose compassion, diligence, and professionalism keeps our citizens safe and secure. Done this 12th day of April, 2016 at Colorado Springs, Colorado, the Board of County Commissioners of El Paso County, Colorado, Amy Lathan, Chair, Dennis Heisey, Vice Chair, Darrell Glenn, Sally Clark, and Peggy Littleton, members, Chuck Borman, County Clerk and Recorder, has attested to this.
Second.
So, without further ado, as the liaison and representative to E911, one of the liaisons, co-liaisons with Commissioner Clark to the Sheriff's Office, and I want to tell you guys I appreciate you very much. You know, we talked about this a lot yesterday at the Homeland Security Advisory Council up in Denver. What you guys do and what's happening with FirstNet throughout the nation, and how that may or may not impact our system here in Colorado. I know you guys go through extensive training. Because you have to, and to be able to respond to people that are in crisis takes a really special person, and it takes an emotional toll on you as well. And I want to thank you for always standing there, for being faithful and loyal, and being that calm, clear voice for those that are going through crisis. So,
I can't tell you how much esteem I hold our dispatchers, our telecommunicators in. Many of you know that's where I started in 1978. That was a lifetime ago, before the lifetime of many of these guys. And the job we did back then was tough. It is nowhere near as tough as the job that these guys do day in and day out. It shocks most people when they see the immensity of their operation, the complexity of the job that they do day in and day out. Our worlds would not operate without them, and we know it. And it is a huge honor that this goes on once a week or once a year, but for us it's every day. And they know, I visit down there all the time, and they know that how much I appreciate what they do day in and day out. They do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Rain, shine, during those snow blizzards or the blizzards recently, they were there, not knowing whether they could get home, not knowing whether or not people were going to come in to relieve them, not knowing when they were going to eat or whatever. They're there all the time, and they do the job. They keep the wheels moving, and I want them to know in front of everybody how much I appreciate it. So thank you.
Kylie Gingrich, Communications Manager for the Sheriff's Office. And I want to thank you for recognizing us this week and take this time to tell my folks that are here today how much I appreciate them. Unfortunately, we are, like the sheriff said, there 24/7, so only a few of my folks could be here today. But it goes without saying, these guys are amazing. What they do on a daily basis is truly amazing, and I want them to know how much I appreciate them. And thank you for recognizing them this week.
I'm going to ask if someone, as a spokesperson from the dispatchers, will talk about one of the most, I think, heartwarming calls that you've experienced, so that it gives us more of a personal reflection about what you deal with every day that we sort of take for granted. When we push that 911, we expect someone on the phone to help us. And probably some unusual requests as well, but we want to talk about really helping people.
We usually like the anonymity of the comm center and not being in front of people, so. and I'm an emotional person. I wear my heart on my sleeve, so I will do this hopefully without crying. Probably one of the most profound, like heart-wrenching calls I've ever dealt with. Many years ago, this is way back in the day before we had Phase 2 911, which would give us really accurate locations of callers. And it was a really hot summer day, and we had a call from a mom who was driving around out east. They were looking for property. They didn't know where they were. And their child was in the back seat, and it was a 2 or 3-year-old. And all of a sudden they looked back, and the child was not conscious, not breathing. It was really hot, and what it turned out to be, it was heat stroke. But they didn't know where they were, and we didn't know where to send help. I wasn't even taking the call. I was on the police radio that day. But I had a 2-year-old at that time, so it really hit me directly. But we did everything we could to try and figure out where they were. What are you seeing? What is around you? What are you looking at? Where were you? What road did you see the last time you noticed? I was sending deputies from the South District east. I was sending them from Cimarron Hills east, from the north, in hopes that when we did find out where they were, that we'd have someone close. We ended up having the father actually broke into a house and called 911 from a regular landline phone so we could figure out where they were. The other dispatcher was doing airway maintenance and CPR on the child. And then when the child started breathing, I about lost it. I couldn't talk. I was dispatching the radio, and I had to look at my partner, and I said, "You got to take it," because I couldn't even speak. But that's what we do every day. And that's the part that brings us back. Those moments, we deal with the anger, we deal with the frustration, we deal with people who are yelling at us, but those are the gemstones. Those are the days we come back for.
Thank you.
You know, the other point is, like Don was saying, you get those calls when you need to phone a friend or you need to use your lifeline, whether that is civilians that are associated or whether that's, you know, the cops, it's staff. If we want to call somebody that we know has the answer, we call the comm center. When people need help, they dial 911. When people need to talk to somebody at the sheriff's office or the police department, they call the comm center. They are our lifeline. We know that. Thank you for recognizing them.
Just for anybody in the public that's not had the opportunity to go into a comm center, you need to go take that opportunity. It's absolutely fascinating. I've been in so many of them, from offices of emergency management and comm centers out in LA to Washington, D.C., to Tampa, Florida, to here in Colorado Springs, Denver. And it's really fascinating to see the technology that we have with 3 huge screens in front of them, you know, where they're standing up and watching the screens, taking the calls, trying to pinpoint exactly where people are, making sure that we get folks that are going to be out there. Because it's really been difficult with, you know, different cell phone towers will now relay different locations. And so it couldn't even be it could be an identification, a location that is not easily identified because it's gone through a different cell phone tower. And so these guys do a phenomenal job really trying to pinpoint where are the people located, and making sure that it is accurate so that help is on the way. It is absolutely fascinating. So take a tour through a comm center at some time and see what these guys actually do. They have to be able to not only remain calm and confident, but be able to multitask in amazing, phenomenal ways. You guys, what you do is, because I know many times it's 12-hour shifts. You're there standing, sitting, you know, doing different things to make sure that you're attending to people. So I called a lifeline a few weeks ago, as a matter of fact, trying to find out where I was. I was on my way back from Phillips County from a campaign event, and my driver at midnight apparently didn't notice that we were out of gas. And so coming back into Denver, it was, you know, we tried everything we could. We called the Love's station, we called the gas stores, and we weren't a truck, so they wouldn't come deliver gas. So I was like, this is going to be interesting. I'm going to call 911 for the first time in my life because I've run out of gas. So, but you know, it was lovely talking to somebody who said, you know, stay put. We've got your back. So, and then I had the wonderful opportunity to ride in a sheriff's deputy car to go get gas out in Phillips County. So I got to meet some new people. But thank you guys for what you do, because you really do, whether it's like somebody running out of gas or a true life or death emergency, you guys are there.
With that, I'll call the roll. Commissioner Clark,
With appreciation, aye.
Commissioner Littleton,
Aye.
And with much appreciation, the Vice Chair votes aye. That passes 3-0 with Commissioners Lathan and Glenn excused.